Good morning, everybody. Today I am going to discuss about ISO quantity curves. Alfred Marshall's theories of production had a number of loopholes. He has given a variety of theories, but especially in the field of production, he has given laws of returns. According to him, there are three laws of returns. One is increasing margin return, another is constant margin return, one more is diminishing margin return. All these theories are based on purely one factor model. Basic weakness of this theory is one factor model. He has not taken many factors into consideration. Factors like land, labor, capital, organization, etc. should be taken together to produce any kind of product. But Alfred Marshall concentrates only on one factor. Maybe it is either land or labor or something like that. Therefore, Professor J.R. Hicks and R.G.D. Allen together introduced a new theory called production. Theories of production is popularly called least cost combination or producer's equilibrium. According to J.R. Hicks and R.G.D. Allen, isoquantity curve is a curve which is obtained by the list of combinations of two factors of production like labor and capital, which may give the equal production to a producer. What do you mean by this? According to J.R. Hicks, least cost combination is a list of combinations which consists of two factors, maybe land, labor, etc., which may give equal production in the end. Ultimate result is equal production. Either you take labor more or capital more, left to your choice. But ultimately the result is same. Therefore, it is popularly called least cost combination. His theory based on many assumptions. They are as follows. First and foremost assumption in any economic theories are ceteris paribus. What is ceteris paribus? Ceteris paribus means other things remaining the same. What are those other things? Other things like taste, habit, fashion, advertisement, technology, etc. are assumed to be same. If it changes, theory also changes. Therefore, he assumes that they are all these factors are assumed to be constant. It is a two-factor model. Alfred Marshall's model is one-factor model, whereas this model is two-factor. Two factors are taken into consideration. He also assumes that technological knowledge is constant. Technology won't change during a period of time, specific period of time. Then only we can approve the theory. He also follows the law of transitivity. What is the law of transitivity? If Rama equals Rahim, Rahim equals to another person. A equals B, B equals C. Therefore, A equals C. All are equal. This is popularly called transitivity. It is applicable only to the developing countries. It is applicable only to the developed countries. So not applicable to the developing or backward countries. Very important to note here. Because they should know all the theory as well as practical mathematical knowledge to prepare the least cost combination. Producer should be rational. Here producer should be educated. He is rational. He should not think let it be, let it be, let it be like that. He should think that it is particular. It is like this. So he should be specific in his orders. Therefore, producer should be rational. These are things popularly called rationality. Now let us discuss the definition with the help of list curves and explanations. Isoproduct curves are curves derived from the list of combinations of two inputs, two factors of production, which give equal production. A producer can get equilibrium at a point where iso product curve is tangent to the iso cost line. Let us see the meaning of least cost combination with the help of two components. One is iso quantity curve, another is iso cost line, another is equilibrium stage. Now let us discuss about the list for this iso product curves. According to him, there are 5 combinations. A particular combination is a mixture of two factors of production. Here x may be more or y may be more. Here x may be less or y may be more, or y may be less or x may be more. Here combination is not equal. It may be one is higher, another is lower. In such a situation, it has a diminishing marginal trend from first stage to the last stage. Again, it is based on the diminishing marginal return theory. But important concept is diminishing marginal rate. The rate is diminishing. Not the marginality is diminishing. Marginality rate is diminishing. We have 4 columns and we have A, B, C, D, E combinations, EF combinations, and X factor and Y factor. One thing you can observe here is, here X factor is less, Y factor is more, but ultimately result is same. In the F case, X factor is 6, Y factor is 3, that is X is more and Y is less, but still we get equal production. Here, how they have arranged this proportionate combinations of X and Y factor, it is based on the formula diminishing marginal rate of substitution, which is similar to that of diminishing marginal return theory, which is introduced by the Alfred Marshall. Alfred Marshall's theory is taken here, but additional improvement here is Alfred Marshall taken only one factor, X factor, based on diminishing marginal utility, production. But here, Jarix and RGD Allen taken both X and Y factor together. One factor is more, another factor is less. That is how the combination is made. They don't have equal factors of production. Either X is more or Y is more. That is how it is arranged. Again, it is based on the diminishing marginal rate of substitution. That is, in the A combination case, there is no comparative proportionate between the two. Therefore, in the B combination, we can see in the X factor, between 1 and 2, difference is 1. In the Y factor, difference 18 and 13 is difference is 5. Therefore, 1 is to 5. Then similarly, between 2 and 3, it is 1. But in the Y factor, 13 and 9, it is 4. That is how it is arranged. So they have to plan in such a way that if you take both the combinations, we should get equal satisfaction. That is possible only in the case of diminishing marginal rate of substitution. That is shown in the list. Here explanation is made. Here the first column represents combination, second column represents X and Y column, second and third column represents X and Y factors. The last column represents the diminishing marginal rate of substitution. We can easily understand the gist of the theory with the help of the diagram. Here OX axis represents X factor, OY represents Y factor. It is the quantity curve obtained by the list of combinations of two factors of production which give equal returns. Therefore, combination like A, B, C, D, E, F give equal profit. It is a curve because of the DMRS. Why it is DMRS? Because in the combination A case, combination of Y is more, whereas the combination of X is less. In the case of F case, X value has taken more, whereas the Y value is taken less. Here, between A and F, it is diminishing from left to right. It is how it diminishes. It diminishes at the rate of diminishing marginal rate of substitution. Substitution rate is diminishing from left to right. Alfred-Marshall's curve is a straight line from left to right. This is also diminishing from left to right, but still it has a curve. Means it is based on the y, it is not based on the y equals mx plus v. See, it is based on the x square plus bx plus c equals 0. It means diminishing marginal return theory based on cardinal measurement of utility, whereas this theory is based on ordinal measurement of utility. Order, A order, B order, C order, D order, F order, etc. Therefore, it is called iso quantity curve. Iso means similar, nothing more than that. Iso means similar. It has a similar value of return even if you take A, B, C, D. Here one thing you can observe, if A equals B, B equals C, then A is naturally equals C. Whatever the return they are getting in A, they are also getting the same value at the point F. Therefore, it is popularly called transitivity law. So here, this theory, relatively, it is better than that of diminishing marginal return theory by Alfred Marshall. Now, let us discuss the properties of iso-quantity curves. One thing you can observe here is iso-product curves neither touch nor cut each other. If it is cutting y-axis, it never touches the x combination. If it is cutting x-axis, it never touches the y-axis. Therefore, we should be extra careful. The theory says it is a combination of two factors of production. If you take y factor, then you are leaving that x factor. If you take x factor, then they are not taking the y factor. Therefore, the theory says the curve should consist of two factors at a time. If it cuts one x-axis or y-axis, then it won't take the other factors of production. Therefore, they never touch or cut x-axis or y-axis. Another very important feature of iso-quantity curve is they are infinite in number. In a particular graph, we can see variety of iso-quant 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 like that. It is infinite. You can try any more number of curves based on two factors of production. Very important point to be noted here is, assumption here is, iso-quantity 1 should consist of two factors of production. Iso-quantity curve 2 is also consisting of two factors of production. You should not take any one factor. If you follow this formula, naturally remaining all upper iso-quantity curves having the different portion, different proportion of quantity of x and y. Therefore, infinite number of iso-quantity curves can be drawn in a particular diagram. Another important feature of iso-quantity curve is infinite indifference quantity curves can be drawn between two. For example, iso-quantity 1, iso-quantity 2, or iso-quantity 2 and iso-quantity 3. Between these two, we can draw many more tiny or small iso-quantity curves in between. Therefore, between the two indifference quantity curves, we can draw infinite number of indifference quantity curves. This diagram shows they never cut each other, because if you take up A, the proportionate is, in the case of C, is more. If you take up B, proportionate D is less. The theory says, assumption says, either X or Y, it should have the diminishing marginal rate of substitution. More of X, less of Y. Therefore, they never cut each other. Very important to note that higher iso-quantity curve has a higher profit. Lower the iso-quantity curve has lower profit. If you have higher income, you are taking upper iso-quantity curves. I mean, you have higher investment capabilities, you can select the higher ISO quantity curves. If you have lower investment capacities, you will take the lower ISO quantity curves. So higher the ISO quantity curve, higher the profit. It is the meaning of this particular diagram. Now till now we have discussed about the ISO quantity curves. Now we have to discuss about the ISO cost line. It is also called budget line. ISO cost lines are followed by the capacities of cost of production of a producer, which varies from time to time. Here also it's a kind of demand line. We call it as ISO cost line. It's a possibility of investment of a producer during the process of production. X-axis price, Y-axis units of quantity demanded. Here point P, a particular producer has the capability to invest OP, point of investment of Y, and OP1, point of investment capability of X. So he has the capacity to invest both Y and X together. Y factor and X factor together. But here Y may be less, X may be more, or sometimes X may be more or Y may be less. So his budget capacity depends upon the time or his possibility of investment. So thus P1 line represents the capacity of investment by a producer. One side we have ISO quantity curves, the combinations of X and Y factors of production. Other side we have his budget line. Now we have to combine the both. This is popularly called producer's equilibrium. Here, as I told you, we should know the properties of ISO quantity curve properly. Similarly, we should know the ISO cost line. Then only we can understand the producer's equilibrium. As I told you earlier, these are the three important components to understand the concept properly. Here we see one black line, demand line, we call it as demand line or price line, is the capacity of investment one side. Other side we have variety of ISO quantity curves. As I told you, higher the ISO quantity curve represents its higher investment capabilities, lower represents its lower capabilities. See at point E, producer can get equilibrium because ISO cost line is tangent to ISO quantity curve. It means whatever he invests, same amount he is getting back. This is the meaning of equilibrium, where cost is equal to benefit. At this particular point, producer will get equilibrium with the help of ISO quantity curves. Variety of uses are there from ISO quantity curves. For example, one example we can take here. This is called profit expansion path. As I told you, 1, 2, 3, ISO quantity 1, 2, 3 are the different ISO quantity curves. And similarly, variety of price lines are found. First one is price line 1, second middle one is price line 2, similarly ISO cost line 3. If we join all the three equilibrium points, we get profit expansion path. How the profit increases from year to year can be explained with the help of this particular diagram. X-axis represents X factor, Y-axis represents Y factor. So we should mention all these particular points in each line, each curve. Then we can understand, and the follower will easily follow the diagram easily. Otherwise, it's difficult. I have not mentioned ISO quantity, ISO cost line purposefully because we should not forget this. And the curve, reverse curve, represents the profit expansion path. This is one of the important example for the use of ISO quantity curves. Similarly, we have substitution effects. Similarly, we have income effects. It is used for consumption, production, distribution in each and every field. Therefore, it is also a gift by J.R. Hicks and R.G. Dallin. Should not forget this. Now let us see the criticisms of this theory. This theory, as I told you, based on some assumptions. As you know, assumptions are naturally assumptions. They are not the real. To make a theory, assumptions are very essential. Similarly, he has also made some more assumptions. Ceteris paribus is an imaginary condition. What is ceteris paribus? Other things remaining the same. Other things like taste, habit, fashion, advertisements, etc. are assumed to be same according to J.R. Hicks. But in reality, everything changes. Fashion changes, taste changes, everything changes. Therefore, this theory is meaningless. Two-factor model, but not more factors. He has taken only two factors, but in reality, if you take up a computer is not only mixed up a box, but it consists of variety of items inside. Motherboard, current connections, and then switches, and then floppy drive, everything, many things will be there, but he has not taken all these things factor together. He has taken only two factors, land and labor, either labor and capital. Capital or organization or advertisements. Only two factors will be taken into consideration, but in reality, there are 14 M's: mind, muscle, money, uh, member, motivation, merchandising, variety of factors of productions are there. He has not taken all these factors into consideration. Therefore, this theory is not as we think. But when compared to Alfred Marshall's theories, it is far better. But it's difficult because if you take only two factor, somewhat you may get lost in the organization. Technological knowledge is also not constant. Every 24 hours technology changes. Therefore, his idea is no meaning. It is applicable only to the developed countries. So what is the fate of backward and developing countries? Therefore, this theory is not useful further, because a person, one who is producing, maybe startup or whatever it is, he should know mathematical equations as well as the theories. It is somewhat difficult. Some people may know this, but a poor or a layman cannot understand all these diagrams together. Therefore, this theory is not good for the developing and backward countries. Therefore, this theory fails. Producers should be rational. Sometimes all the producers are not rational. They do the business by practice, or sometimes they lose also. But never mind, they continue. Even though they are getting loss, assuming that they will get future profit, they do continue the business. Therefore, rationality is not always required. Sometimes social factors also will be taken into consideration. So these are all the important criticisms, and transitivity law and many other things we can discuss as criticisms. But still, when compared to Marshall's law, it is really good, because Marshall's law is based on cardinal measurement. This law is based on ordinal measurement. As a student, should know all these theories so that they can have new modern theory based on the steps. These are all the steps. First step, second step, third step. If you want to go to the fifth step, you should know first step and second step. Therefore, theoretical background is very important. So in this context, we have to say hats off to J.R. Hicks and R.J. Allen, who have given this particular ratio quantity curve, which is very useful for a student of economics as well as a student of business administration, and thereby they can get future profit without any confusions. So thank you very much for listening. Thanks for watching. Have a nice time. Bye.